Okay, hi everyone. So we are back again for another one of our So What Is sessions. We have the wonderful Jo Morton Brown with us from Flourish, and Jo is a school counsellor. So we're going to be having a little chat about what that means, what that looks like. And Jo works across secondary and primary schools in Essex. And I think we need to hand over to Jo so she can tell us what other fab stuff she does.
Thank you. Hi everybody. So I give myself a job title of emotional health practitioner purely because I've got so many different hats. So it's quite hard to say what I do. But my main bread and butter is being a school-based counsellor. So it's a little bit different compared to a counsellor that goes into a school, because obviously when you're based at a school, it's just different. So school-based counsellor. I work as a family support worker with primary school kids. I love that. I love a Thursday. That's a good day of the week. And then I have what I call freelance Fridays. So my Fridays are school assemblies or delivering training to adults about mental health in children and young people. And I do a YouTube channel. So that's quite interesting.
Yes, so I'm relatively new to the world of YouTube. We started some videos in lockdown, and I don't quite know. It actually came about like most of my great ideas. It came about in between some banter with another young person. When I got a bit ahead of myself, like I do sometimes, and that made the threat that I probably would get more YouTube followers than they did if I did a YouTube video. So it was, you know what teenagers are like, go on then, where's your video? Where's your video? Where's your video? So, you know, that's when I sort of decided to do a few, and yeah, we did smash that. So that's quite exciting. And some of them are quite horrified that I've got 36 subscribers, and they're quite horrified that I've got more than them. But one of my posts got 1,500 likes, and they were just amazed.
Shocked.
Some middle-aged woman
Love it.
that talks rubbish at them once a week can get some really good likes. But it is a bit of an adventure, isn't it? You know, I haven't learned to edit or anything yet, but you know, I have watched some of your clips, and they're really, really informative. They're really short and sweet, and I think that's really helpful for children sometimes.
Yeah, I think like I have not got a clue how to use YouTube. I too don't know how to edit. I had a college up north email me the other day saying, "Hi Jo, we love your videos. We noticed that you don't do editing. Our year 6 students are looking for a project and would love to get involved with your media for their media project. Would you be happy for us to help?" And I was like, yes, please. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I noticed on YouTube that there wasn't many people that were talking about mental health, but in a way where it's not the end of the world, where actually, yes, we've all got mental health, and it's okay to have bad days. And yes, if you are addicted to your phone, okay, well, let's do something about it. Or if you have lost a friend and you don't know how to make it right, okay, well, let's think about steps that you can do to help yourself. And it's just gone a bit crazy. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I think I don't want to take it too seriously. I work full time, and as soon as I start editing, or it just then becomes something that it's not. And I'd much rather, the kids love it at school because I won't tell them how many subscribers I've got, and they love it because they're guessing. And somebody guessed the other day, "Have you got like 1 million?" I'm like, no. No.
Oh, yeah, I wish. I quite like the fact that it's year 6s that are offering to edit and not year 11s or 12s. That you're actually at the level of year 6s.
They were, sorry, no, I got that wrong. They were year 13s.
Right, okay.
Sorry, I've got that wrong. Yeah, year 13s. Should I say year 6s? Oh, I'm sorry. No, they were year 13s doing A-level media.
Right, brilliant, yeah.
But saying that, I'm pretty certain that year 6s know how to edit more than I too. So it wouldn't surprise me.
So how did you get into school counselling? How did you get into that role in the first place? What drew you to it?
So I was really lucky. I went backpacking when I was 19, where if I think about it now, like travelling the world at 19, like so young back then. Anyway, I was traveling, and I really didn't know what to do. I went through college, but there's so many people that say to you, you know, what do you want to do when you're older? And even when I'd left college, I knew I wasn't university type. I knew that. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And there's pressure on kids. There's too much pressure on kids. You know, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? Anyway, I went traveling, and I remember this particular moment where I was in Laos, and I read a book, and it dawned on me that actually I would like to become somebody that I wish I had in my life when I was at school. And then, got back home and then trained to be a counsellor. It was the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my life. So hard. And then I think as the role has just grown, so I've been doing it for nearly 10 years now, as the role's grown, I've literally just went on a course to become an MHFA instructor, so to train others in mental health. And then it's just, we've developed, I suppose, and then I kind of started Flourish as a little business, and it's just, we're sailing through, and we're coping, and we're enjoying it. So so that's how I got into it, to help people when they need help, even if they might not realise it, but when they can do with that early support and early intervention.
And I think it's safe to say that, I mean, a lot of people that are drawn to work with children and young people, it's generally what we call a calling. It's generally something you feel very drawn to, as opposed sometimes to a conscious decision.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and I think what people don't realise as well is that counselling training is tough. It's very, very long. It's very intense, and you really have to bare your soul, don't you? You have to really go through processes where you look at yourself. Yeah.
I think that was what was the hardest thing, is and I'll never forget when I was in the interview for the course, because I was really young. Like when I got back, I was 20, and training to be a counsellor at 20, like some courses don't even take under 25s.
Yeah.
And I remember the manager of the course, I remember him saying, you know, what's your relationships like? And I was like, yeah, they're fine. Yeah, they're good. How's life? Yeah, it's happy. It's great. And then it's like when you just become one, it's just like, oh, this is hard. Because what we try and encourage our clients, my school kids, to do is become more self-aware. So all I want them to do is to improve that and increase their self-awareness. So then when they're feeling, I shan't swear, but when they're feeling rubbish, that they can then feel it rather than smash up their room or throw something or get in a fight that they later regret. So,
Yeah, because there's an awful lot of, I mean, in schools, there's an awful lot of getting into trouble over quick reactions, slamming doors, kicking bins over, being rude to teachers. You know, that tends to be sort of very, very difficult. It's you know, it is a tough one for them. It is a tough one for them.
And it's not easy being a kid. Like, let's face it, I didn't enjoy my teens, if I'm honest. But it's not any easier for them, you know. And I used to hate it when people used to say to me, oh, the school years are the best years of your life. Really? But I think when people say that, they're lucky that they look back on that time and think that they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But also I think there's this sense of like, kind of, it is nice when you're younger to not have the responsibility of thinking about food on the table or bills or clothes and things like that. But then even some young people worry about the money of their families and their parents. So
and I think at the moment that they are particularly worried, aren't they?
Gosh, yeah, literally, yeah. This pandemic is bringing a new sense of we've never experienced it before, so that's hard, isn't it? Is that we can't even go to the elderly people and say, oh, you know, how was it during the war? We've got no reassurance. And if I said to you that, I don't know, Amanda, work's going to be really hard for the next 2 weeks, you're not going to sleep, you're going to be stressed, you're just going to really struggle. But after that 2 weeks, you're going to be fine. You know that no matter how hard it is within that 2 weeks, you know when it's going to finish. So you can get through it. No matter how hard it might be, you can get through it. But at the moment, we don't know when we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
We will, and we will, but it's just hard because there's no expiry date yet.
No, and that creates a lot of unsettlement. School counselling, and I think for anybody that isn't based in a school or doesn't work in a school, wouldn't really understand. There's a big difference between school counselling and a counselling practice.
Yeah.
Out in the out in the world, where it's you go to a clinic and you see a counsellor there. Yeah. School counsellors being based in school is a totally different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it's got its pros and its cons. So I love being a school counsellor because you've got this community of your school family, and you get to know the kids not just for 6 sessions, but even though you work towards your closure, you're there for them still. So I always say to my school kids that we'll have 6 sessions, and then if you need me later on down the line, if that's 6 weeks after closure, or if that's when you're in year 11 and you're just having a freaking out because of your GCSEs, providing I'm here for you. And it's just that reassurance. So I love working at a school. I think it's good because you get to sense what's going on, and when they're having a rant about a teacher with you in your session, you know who they're talking about, and you can sometimes help support and intervene with teachers, and just to let you know that when you're saying this is a trigger for that young person. So I think you can really get involved, and I love working in a school. I think that's what I love about it. But then it is so much harder, because when you go to the staff room and you see one of your kids' names on the board for exclusion, being suspended, or in the IE room, then your heart sinks. And then sometimes it's maybe witnessing poor behaviour in the corridors, and then you've got a staff badge around your neck. So that's the hardest thing, is if another member of staff walks past me, and if I don't say to this group of kids, look, you need to be wearing your face covering, or you shouldn't be kicking a football around in the school, then I'm going to look rubbish to that teacher. But equally, that could be one of my school kids in there.
Yeah.
So it just makes it so hard to do both. And face coverings, at the moment, I just feel like I keep saying, keep your face covering on, please. Keep your face covering on. So it's just hard, because when it's one of your own school kids, you feel like you want to go, oh, it's all right, don't worry. But you've got to set that rule for everybody. So it's hard. But I think
sometimes, I like you, my support practice is embedded in schools, so I'm a familiar face in some schools, and then once we've done our work, they quite often pop in at a break or a lunch and just check in, and or come back in year 11 if I've had them in year 7 or 8, and it is lovely being able to have those relationships. But you're right, it's very, very difficult. I think having the knowledge of maybe why they end up in some of those positions, not necessarily able to share all that information, unless you've discussed it with the young person, that would be a good moving on step for them, and then being able to have the conversations with staff that have coming from a school policy perspective, and that's not detrimental to staff, because they have policies and they have a job to do, and then finding that middle ground sometimes it's very, very difficult, isn't it? It's frustrating. I find it very frustrating.
Yeah, but then there's the benefits of having, for a young person to have counselling at their school, is that it's somewhere where they're already familiar with it, that's already safe, they know where they're going, and some of them are quite happy to say to their friends, oh yeah, I'm going to see Jo for counselling, and then some other people, I'm known as the careers advisor to their friends. So it's just the way that people feel about counselling.
And I think it's funny, isn't it, because some of them are really comfortable with the term school counsellor, and then others are really not. Okay, if you said go and see a counsellor, you'd get told in no uncertain terms, no thank you, but
Yeah.
but really embellished, you know. So is that when you use your careers advisor hat?
Yeah, because I think sometimes what I try and get the kids to do is that if they've had one bad experience with a counsellor, that does not mean that all counsellors or counselling is not for them. It just means that they've been really unfortunate to gel and click with their right counsellor. It's as simple as that. Last week I had a young lad that was so against counselling. He'd had it with, in Essex we call it EWMS, so emotional wellbeing mental health services, or CAMS it might be down there. And he'd had it and it was rubbish, and nah, I'm not doing that. Anyway, just getting him into my counselling room was like a triumph. Like, that was like wicked. And trying to get him to realise that just give it a chance. Just give me a chance. Give me one session. If you don't like it, totally understand. If you don't want to do it, I get it, and I'll open that door for you. But until you've tried it with somebody different, you're never going to know. No. And I suppose to any young people watching this, it's just like, you never know. And just because you've not gelled with one counsellor doesn't necessarily mean that we're all, you know, up ourselves or la-di-da. I am not la-di-da.
No, me neither.
And I think that's the hardest thing, is actually giving it a go and realising that actually it is so bloody good speaking to somebody who doesn't know your friends, who doesn't know your family members, who doesn't hear about home life from a parent, where you can actually tell your own story in your own words, and they're going to listen and believe you and not judge you. Like, what's not to like about that? So just give it a go. I think, in fairness though, I think that every human being could do with a counsellor. I really do think that we could just all do with that somebody to go to, where we can tell them the smallest of worries that are bubbling underneath the surface. You know, like that anger iceberg. I love that. You know, what you see above the surface of that iceberg, you know, of, say, anger, is so much bigger and wider underneath. We just don't see it.
No, you're absolutely true. And we only show that much of ourselves as well, don't we? Even if we acknowledge the other bits. I mean, we don't always show all of those sort of parts of our personality, you know, and all the rest of it. So so what do you think are some of your best bits working with children and young people over the years?
Oh my gosh, well, I got to wear Heelys the other day at my primary school.
Excellent. So I don't think I'd stand up in those.
Oh, trust me. I'm size 2, and a size 6 bought them in for me. And you know how you see kids like whiz around the shops and the aisles, and they weave. It is not that easy.
No.
It's not that easy. So yeah, I think being a big kid, I'm going to go pre-COVID, just being able to play with the kids and just sit down and have story time. So there's this one particular kid who didn't even really want to talk about their worries. They just wanted to sit beside me and we would read books.
Yeah.
And she'd be so happy because she'd be getting a cuddle. And it was just brilliant. So that, I think, and just knowing sometimes that even though you might not be helping that young person feel better in a sense that their life is magically better and that they're feeling happier, just knowing that they're not as stuck as they were, and just knowing that they might have a few coping skills that they never had before they'd seen you. So I think just that, and also getting kids through their exams. Or I hate the term school refusers. I hate that.
So do I.
But those kids that emotionally struggle to school, just getting them into school for 2 consecutive days, or for 1 week, or, you know, for 1 half term, like how amazing it is, and to share that with them, it's just a real privilege.
Have you noticed, I've noticed a slight increase now in children who are unable to access school. I don't know if that is the same over in Essex.
Yes, I've got a private client that I see on Zoom, and bless her, she is studying 3 A-levels, so she's year 13 studying 3 A-levels, but she is at her college twice a week. So yeah, we do have them. So, but luckily at my school and at my sixth form, they're all at school 5 days a week.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's
no,
different.
it's difficult. It is difficult. And of course we're coming up to you know, rightly or wrongly, I do call term 2 of the academic year silly season, because from a professional point of view, anybody that does any sort of supportive or therapeutic or teaching work with children and young people will know that Christmas term is such a mixed bag. I get really irritated when all the Christmas stuff goes up in the shop early, because sadly I recognise the more negative impact that has on some of our more vulnerable students. And it's not the time that some people think that it is. Do you find this time of year difficult doing your job?
I think so. I think so. And I can put a different spin on that as a mother as well.
Yeah.
Because normally, like if I was to, so I've got a little boy 6. Normally, if you was to look at their school calendar, it is like loads of stuff to do. And it's like, I remember particularly last year it was the 1st of December, and looking at the calendar thinking, oh my gosh, we've got school dinner day, like Christmas dinner day, Christmas jumper day, we've got Christmas concert, we've got this, we've got that. And it was just like not being able to keep up with it. But then this year, I looked at it yesterday, this year they have got nothing apart from a Christmas dinner. And even that, I don't think it's going to be a hot Christmas dinner. I just think it's going to be crackers and hats. So it's just extremely different right now.
Yeah.
I do worry about people putting up their Christmas decorations too early, though, because we're going to be sick of Christmas otherwise. But it's just trying to get that balance, because for some people that is their joy. And it's just, we're so individual, aren't we? And it's if that can bring them joy, then go for it. But yeah, it's and it's also those kids that, you know, don't celebrate Christmas. You know, I feel sorry for them as well.
Yeah, because actually, I mean, Eid was a washout this year, wasn't it, for the Muslim community, because they couldn't have it because we were in lockdown. So, you know, lots of families have missed other big religious and important celebrations for them. So it's not just this time of year. You know, and I think Diwali's happening. Is it this week? I've started to see some things from a few of my friends, so that's coming up as well. So that's going to happen in lockdown. So, like I say, it affects so many different people in lots of different ways, and those things are important. But so I'm not sure what else there is to say. You love your job, I can tell.
God. I do. I love my job, and I'm really lucky because last week I was delivering school assemblies to years 11 and 12, and just realising, I think the biggest thing is for kids to realise that it's okay to not always be okay.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and we just need to challenge young people on the language that they use, you know. I had my door open and I had this conversation going on, is, you know, oh, that's it, I'm so depressed, I'm going to go and that's it, you know, I'm going to kill myself. They didn't mean that. And obviously I had to report it as safeguarding, because those people, those professionals watching this would understand.
Yeah.
No, they didn't mean that. I was only joking. Yeah. Well, I didn't have to have the conversation.
No.
Kids to realise that, unfortunately, there are people out there that are genuinely struggling. Genuinely struggling, and it's not fair with the language that some people are using so freely. We've just got to be mindful of our language is all I try and get across to the kids as well. And
I think before I start on a big rant about the influence that the media have having that, because I'll be here all day, Adele Bates posted something on Twitter the other day about our look, and it really made me think about, if I have a look, she said, have you got, whether it's right or wrong, do you think you've developed a look that conveys disapproval or gets young people to do something? And I think I have got a look, actually. I think I raise my eyebrows and do a bit of a Paddington Bear. And I also have noticed that I tilt my head to one side when I do the look.
Really?
So, yeah. So do you think you have a look? Do you have a look that you use that says,
I don't know,
happening now, without actually saying anything?
I must do. I don't know. I'd ask Charlie, and I bet you my little boy would answer that. I know The thing that I have become more self-aware of, and I think it's really important for us to all know, is the signs of when we're feeling stressed.
Yes.
So when we're feeling stressed, what are your signs? And it's quite handy to maybe ask your friends or your family, because they're the little clues that can help you to realise that maybe I'm not coping as well as I thought. So for me, I'm a sigher. And when I'm really stressed, then I'll almost blow air through my lips, and it's like that. So my husband and my friends know that, just depending if I do that, depends that, Marcus is stressed. So, and I think it's important to know those little cues as well for ourselves.
And of course, but what I do is teach children the science around that, so they understand how the lungs are creating that, feel what the body's doing to create that. I'm a blower, so if I'm walking around the house, I go and my daughter will say, oh, she's blowing, what's up with you? So, but it's that whole lung response, isn't it? It is really important that our children learn these skills really early on. So it's been so lovely talking to you. So I've put up Jo Morton Brown. You've got www.weareflourish.co.uk, and head over to the Flourish YouTube channel, where Jo has many very popular little clips about all sorts of things. I'm actually going to be sending the link out to some of my schools to share, because they're really useful. They're they're short and to the point, unlike me. Well, I'm short, but I'm definitely never to the point.
I watch any of the old ones though, Amanda. I look at the old ones now, back in March, and I cringe. So you can only watch the newer versions.
All right, so start from the newer ones and go backwards.
July is when I started to realise, Jo, stop waffling and talking rubbish. Come on. But I just, hopefully it will help somebody. But thank you for having me. It's lovely. I could just I could chat all day, and that's the trouble. I plan to make these 20 minutes, and most of them are about 40 minutes because we get carried away. But I think they're quite nice if someone's got a lunch break or a coffee time and they want a bit of fun, but they want to learn something as well, and just get an idea of what your role is and what you do, and what that looks like in a school. Then lovely. Thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you soon. I'm speaking to you soon.
Take care. Bye.